So everybody doing? This is Clifton Raheem Bradley. Assalamu alaikum. And you know what? Today is an exciting good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're looking at this. I'm looking forward to having Miss Loops on to talk about technology. And I'm looking forward to it. We have give her a couple minutes to get acclimated because the show is really not supposed to start till about 9 o'clock on the dot. And thing is, you can interact by calling in and asking questions. And what we're gonna talk about technology. We're gonna talk about humanoid robots. We're going to talk about algorithms. We're going to talk about the book 1984, okay, and Optima, okay, which is a robot that is made by Tesla, okay, that will be coming on to the market very soon. And this is the year 2025. And these things, and you know what? Give it to it. Google's is the largest, biggest search engine that there is, and it's just fascinating, man. It's fascinating, and you know what? It was just so many questions that when I think about computers, I love Apple computers and PCs. Not a big fan of PC computers anymore, but they have their place in the ecosystem. And Apple, Apple has just stole my heart when it comes to computers. I mean, it's amazing where they have an ecosystem. Whereas your phone is connected to your computer, your watch is connected to your computer. And I'm sure maybe they do that with PC Windows right now, and I'm just not aware of it. But for individual that does video editing, you know what? I just think that this is just the best computer to have is an Apple computer. And the advantage of having an Apple computer is when for a video editor is when you're rendering. What is rendering? Rendering is like when you put a puzzle together. Okay, you put a piece over here, a piece over there, and you know what? You bring the whole puzzle into a whole picture, and what happens is you, in essence, you're putting together your video footage like that. But I am interested in knowing what do people think about what Eric Snowden did? Do you think that he violated and by telling the American people that their phones were possibly being monitored and listened to by the NSA? Was he wrong for that? And this is a question. This question, that question right there, a lot of people are like, "Oh man, you know what? He signed a disclosure sheet saying that he would not disclose confidential information about the NSA since he was subcontracted or contracted to work for the NSA." But was he right or was he wrong in what he did? And it's it's more or less it's very controversial, and I think that he knew that by doing this, by giving this information to the American people, that he would be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So what he did is he went to Europe. I'm not Europe. He went to Russia. Okay, and interesting. And you know what? Again, what is an algorithm? Maybe you can tell me what an algorithm is. What is an algorithm? Okay, it's social media. Social media like Facebook, YouTube, something like. Are they good for the society? Are they good? Are they good? Hey, I streaming it all. Okay, I'm gonna put this up to somebody. Okay, let's see. Hey man, I love to stream. They always blast. Okay, stroke the support. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And blow up. When you say blow up, I always know that I'm not gonna get like if this one person that's watching 1,000 people, I'm gonna get if I put in a hard work and effort and thank you, I'm gonna get what is allocated for me from the creator. Yeah, I appreciate that. Giveaway sniper 153. Okay. Okay. And for the people that are in the chat room that are listening, I appreciate it. I'm gonna put my telephone number up here, like if you want to call in, and you know what, like if you want to talk about anything else in regards to the news, you know what, I just love it, love it, I love it, and I would like to ask people out there. This is a question that I'm posing. What do you think about social media? What do you think about Facebook? What do you think about YouTube? What do you think about these other social media and X? And I'm pretty sure in the future there will be other social media platforms. Are they? Do you feel that they are for the good? Do you feel that they are for the good of people? Because I think it's good, but do you think that the information that you put into your computer to join these social media networks, do you think it's kind of dangerous? I about to say, what am I talking about dangerous? Okay, when you sign up for these social media platforms, be aware. Okay, doing a disclosure. Okay, at the bottom. Okay, and nobody, let's face it, nobody takes the time to read all of this information. And thank you. What's that giveaway? 20255 for saying that you like this podcast. And you know what? I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. You know. And the thing is, when you're signing up for these social media programs, no one, I'm gonna say the average person, they don't have the time to read this stipulation. We can use this, we can use that. At the bottom, you check off. So therefore, you're giving the social media platform the permission and authorization to use information into sell metadata. Okay, that's information that is collected. Okay, once you sign in, but not your credit card information. Okay, but a lot of times when you sign up for these social media platforms, you aren't putting in any you're not putting in your credit card information. You know what? It's just a danger. Okay, it's just a danger to society because, but you cannot blame the social media platforms because the thing is, if you're utilizing their platform for free, okay, essentially you have a choice of whether you want to sign up for Google's, whether you want to be on MSN. I wonder, you have a choice. So therefore, I just think that they made it so hard the way, where you like for job applications, you have to check certain things. Like, hey, man, we can use your microphone right now. You don't know if they're collecting that information. I kind of think that they're using the information, and it can be a betterment for the society. It can be a betterment for the culture. But when you start talking about marketing, you start talking about marketing and all these things like that, you don't know what they're using the information from. And like I said, this thing about algorithms, or anybody understand about algorithms? Oh man, tell me. You know what? It's like now when I go on my phone, okay, and I go to a site, just browse it. Then, like about 5 minutes later, that algorithm for my computer, okay, my tablet, what it is it's bringing an ad to me to something that I just may have stumbled on by mistake. And you know what? This this is a danger. You know what what really scares me is that once these robots like Optima, that is made by Tesla, Neo, okay, what scares me is that this information will be used by talented and smart people. Okay, so if you have a compute, if you have a humanoid robot, okay, and it's cleaning for you, it's cooking for you, and believe me, they're gonna be more and more and more um co- humanoids in this society. And you know what? I think I read somewhere at some point humanoids are going to outnumber people. Okay, as you figure, if an individual is rich, okay, if an individual is rich and have a lot of money, you say, you know what, man, he can only afford one humanoid. He can only afford one robot. But the thing is, I can afford five. But the thing, the thing that's kind of scary to me, is kind of scary, is that individuals that understand marketing, okay, once this information is gathered in Optima, which is made by Tesla, our Neo, okay, at some point, that information will be sold to individuals that understand psychology, individuals that understand marketing, micro and macro economics. The where what happened is your robot would be like, you know what? I wash your clothes today. You might think about using Tide. You might think about buying a Sony watch, Apple computer, PC. And the thing is, if you become so dependent on it, probably say, yeah, man, you know what, this is my robot, whether it's a male or female. And you know what, they're making a suggestion to me. So you know what, I guess I will go ahead and get this washing detergent. I will go ahead and get Sony, Apple, who knows what products they have in the future. I will go ahead and get this thing because this information is it's like mining. Okay, it's like mining is like digging for information. And what happened is, you know, brother told me we was talking about humanoids and talking about robots. And you could join in on the conversation if you want to. The telephone number is 312-884-9757. So I don't know what happened to my guest, but you know what? They say the show must go on, you know. But thing is, and that's not to blame, because you know what? You never know what's going on with your guests, because you know what, they could have forgotten. Okay, they could have overslept. Or the internet may have went out in their community. Or they may say, I just don't want to do it. I thought about it. And then they mail you, they send you something back and they say, oh, something happened, but they really didn't want to do it. But you know what? You got to respect. people's rights. You know, I think somebody made a modified voice of Denzel Washington, which I think he is a magnificent actor. He said, "Thing is, you invite somebody to your party and they don't come. You say you don't let that stop you from having your party or doing what you enjoy doing, because in reality, nobody owes you anything. You owe yourself." And you know what? And you know what? I sat down, and it may have been a modified voice of actor Denzel Washington, in 2025. But then when I really sat down and really, really thought about it, because someone does not want to participate in your party, that is their right. That's their right. Okay. But some people will give you enough courtesy to say, "Man, you know what? I thought about it." And get on the telephone, get on the computer, uh, their glasses. They said they'll be making telephone calls with glasses in the future. Who knows what else to say? The courtesy to say, "You know what, man? I thought about it, and you know what? I don't want to participate." And you know what? And a lot of people, I have found that during COVID, a lot of people have become desensitized, and when it comes to other people's feelings. But I was so glad to share that video. And you know what? It is good to see videos and listen to individuals that are trying to motivate someone not to do something that is destructive, but to do something that is counterproductive. You don't need to listen to that. Okay, because what happens is put things in your subconscious mind, and you're on a positive. But like I said, never, never, never. I'm gonna put this up, okay? And Sniper, thank you. Giveaway 20256. I appreciate it. And the thing is, you never, never need to do that. Listen to things that are negative, and if you hear them, you know what? It's like my mother said, and she plagiarized. Okay, got those words from somebody else. It's like you eat the fish, but you take out the bones. Okay, and that's what I believe. You eat the fish and you take out the bones. So stay away. Try to distance yourself from negative people, and try not to be the smartest one in the room. And I'm still in words right now. If you're the smartest one in the room, you need to find another crowd. That is something that you need to do, and don't let people discourage you. Do not let people discourage you for fulfilling your dreams. Okay, attempting to stop you, because some people that are trying to stop you from doing things like that, what they're doing is they can't make theirs, and they don't have the desire to make theirs. And let's just face it, some people like to see you fail. Some people like to see you fail. And the thing is, it can be overt. You failed. I'm glad you didn't make it out. It can be covert. Covert means that it's hidden. Okay. They don't want you to succeed. They do not. I think people say, "I want you to be better than me." I think that by sitting down looking at people after this coronavirus, and a lot of people don't, but I really think the individual that wants you to be better than them in your life, but in most cases, I believe it's your father and your mother. And I don't think that the average person, that does not mean make a generalization and say 100% of the people. Average person does not want you to excel above them, because you're looking up at them and saying, "Wow, look at what they did. They are so great." Really, only Allah God is great. And you're like mesmerized, But the thing is, they want you to continue looking up, okay? And they don't want a situation where they're looking up at you. Look at what he achieved. Oh, they want to point fingers, but you know, when you point fingers, you need to point a finger. Just I don't think that the average person wants you to. And people get jealous and envious and hateful, because you got something that they wanted, or you have something that you worked for, but their own dreams and desires and aspirations, they had no desire out of gumption to work for what they wanted. And they remain in a state of stagnation. What is stagnation? Inertia. Inertia is like, I'm going to put this hand up. This hand is not moving forward, backwards, and it's not moving forward. It's at a standstill. And some people get a joy out of that. But you got to be aware of people like that. And like I say, you know what? I am going to do a show in the future. Got it written down again, talking about algorithms, okay, social media, and who knows, the individual that may be listening, you may be a social media expert, and you know what, and you can leave me a message, and okay, and I'm also going to talk about Tesla robots, okay, our humanoids, and I'm going to talk about the dynamic of relationships. Did you know that there are people that have formed relationships in cyberspace? Okay, and what do I mean by cyberspace? They have websites that you can go in and create a wife, okay, on your computer. An avatar is like a face, okay, and it talks to you, okay. And you know what? I'm gonna have to call this person back because it's a family member. You know, I'm real proud to, be, Tommy Bradley. He does construction. He lives in my family. I'm gonna have him on one day to talk about his construction. And I'm gonna try to have my cousin on one day to talk. He is a performer. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna call him one day. He's a performer. Cause see, one thing about myself, we talk about everything, and people may say you just don't have a niche. You just don't have a niche. Okay, and my niche is the news. That's what I follow. That's what I follow. What works for you works for you. What works for me works for me. You might love a PC. I love Apple. You might like an Android. I like an Apple product. So the thing is, but everything does not work for everybody. Okay. So in the future, I'm gonna let you know what these are. I'm sorry for that. I got sidetracked. And like I said, we talk about Google's and we will talk about Facebook. Okay. And very interesting about what do you think? There's a book called 1984 that talks about the society, and the author is George Orwell. Some people try to say that was a man that actually wrote the book. Okay, that was a lady that actually wrote the book, but you just used the pen name Orwell and talked about how technology will take control of the society, and at some point, individuals will have a digitalized ID and may have a RDF chip in their fingers. And the thing is to have more control over the society. And what do you think? These smart televisions, are they smart? Some people would even say that, you know what, they can look at you. I'm talking about agencies inside of your household. So when your television is off, it's really on. Okay. So what I'm saying is, you know what, the society, I know I've looked at like even drones. Drones are something that flies around, crawls around, and it can gather information and send it back to a headquarters. Okay. And I didn't know that they had drones the size of insects. And it's just interesting. You know what, technology is very, very interesting to me. You know what? And but there I know that, but what do we talk about on Underground Railroad Podcast? Like I said, I'm gonna have my cousin on. You probably say that's plagiarizing, but hey, why not? Why not? And I talk about the news. I have community activists on. Okay, Charlie Clerk, what happened to him, killing him because they did not agree with his ideology. This was wrong. This was wrong. It was wrong. Kicking Jimmy Kimball to threaten to kick him off for telling a joke about something, but then you know what, the powers to be happened to put him back on the air. But I always wondered to myself, now you probably say, what is wrong with you? I always wondered to myself, was Jimmy Kimball kicked off the air for a suspended to send a message? Hey, don't go too far. Like the View television show that comes on ABC. Whoopi Goldberg and Sarah Haynes and Joy Behar. Was it sent out as a warning or by the big people that are in power that they plan and they say, you know what? Charlie Clerk got killed. Okay, he was a Trump supporter. He got killed. What we're gonna do is we're gonna raise as much notoriety about, not notoriety, news media about him. And what this would do is this will bring more people to his organization, and he's just a martyr. But see, I just happen to believe that the people in power, and by putting a negative on Jimmy Kimball that comes on Channel 7, it would make people enraged and they would say, you know what? Charlie Clerk, he's a martyr now. And you know what? I think that he's bigger now than what he was in life. And was it an ulterior motive by big, 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 powerful people to join that organization, or organizations that are similar to that? But I'm always thinking about these conspiracies. Always, always, always thinking about these conspiracies. You know, and hey, man, I believe something strange happened with Project Blue Book in Nevada. Okay, what they say, possibly aliens landed in Area 51. Okay. I would love for President Trump to declassify that. But I happen to believe that there's too many planets outside of our solar system. And it's not impossible to say, there has to be life someplace else, but because there's so many planets outside of our solar system, but it may not be life as we know it. I want to do a show about that too. So, no guests that would like to come on, and like I say, I am sorry things just did not work out. And you know what? You say we plan, but a lot God plans, and a lot is just the best planner, just the best planner. But and that's all I can really say. But any ideas that you have about shows that you would like to talk about, me to talk about in the future, please. You have some recommendations on guests, please, because you know I'm looking to grow my platform. But if if I only gather one or two, you know what? If I change one or two's life by information that I have disseminated in all these years, do I've done my mission and do a television show called The Underground Railroad TV show in Chicago. It comes on at 10:30 Central Time. Chicago time in Chicago on channel 19 on Comcast TV channel 19. But you know what? The website will be in the description. And again, sorry things just did not. Like I say, sometimes things just don't work out. Just don't work out. Because I was telling a friend what's it, Mr. Ben Wilson, brother Ben Wilson. We was talking about yes, and what's interesting is this is my party. Nobody, the average person, they're not going to prioritize their time like you're going to prioritize your time towards your something that you're trying to do, something your goals, your aspirations in terms of delivering a message or having a party or having they're not going to prioritize on their time on your time like you are, and you know what, and you have to accept it because people have a right. They have a right to do what they want to do as long as they aren't harming someone. Okay, and you have to accept it. And we were talking. He's a host of In the Mind of Minister Ben Willis, and like you invite people to come on, but you know what? But they don't prioritize with the time. I'm not saying this was the situation with the young lady that was supposed to come on, but they don't prioritize with their time like what you have to do. But they want you to prioritize with and you have to accept that. And you have to accept that, and you have to move on. You can't be mad, you can't be angry, you could be disappointed, just disappointed, but don't get mad or angry, and do not let anybody stop your party. Do not let somebody stop you and by trying to discourage you from carrying on with your dreams and your aspirations and what you want. Do not, as long as you aren't doing anything to impact and inflict pain on anybody else. I'm talking about in the best of manners, you know. But you're looking at the Underground Railroad podcast, and you know what? And perhaps I need to figure out a regular time to come on. I saw a lot of people on YouTube, and then you know what they said, you should. It's a good idea, you know what, and then they could catch the show later on. But I'm looking for, but that's what the show was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be about technology, and that's things happen. So, but you know what? It could be a test. It could be a test for me. You know what I'm saying? To see would I get angry? Would I get upset? Would I cry? Oh, and would I be? Oh, no, you can't do that because if you read your scriptures or read your Quran, says that we plan, but God Allah plans, and you know what? Allah is the best planner, and you know what? I just can't say that. I have to believe that, even when things happen that I want. You know what? Because everything's not for me. And we cannot get jealous and envious and hateful because somebody else shines, because somebody else is in the front. Because we have to be mindful that for you people that are listening, your blessings are not my blessings. My blessings are not your blessings. And for you to get jealous, envious, hateful, backbite, he trying to be the man, you ain't the man. You know what? These are attributes, are personality uh, uh, traits of the devil. And you know what? God, a lot, it's not pleased with that. You know what? So we have to grow. We have to grow. We don't have to grow. We should grow. Okay. You should be better than what you was yesterday. I'm not talking about physically because I know one what's that? Once a man, twice a baby, because we're gonna deteriorate as we continue. But I'm talking about in terms of being mindful with your attitude and your thoughts. And you know what? I can coach you to do something, but it's an old saying: you can bring the horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. And you know what? I want to thank giveaway 20255. You know what? I want to thank you. Like I said, if I got just one person listening, fine. You know what? Because I don't plan. I plan, but they plan. Allah plans, and Allah's the best planner. So I'm going to leave everyone in the words of Assalamu alaikum. That means peace and blessings be upon you. Peace.